hoping to maybe isolate one of these initial fights. He tries to spray down, does well to get... And now all on that last man, trying to make his way up the B ramp. Neofrag has spotted him out and dealt with him as well. Clean as you like once more. Sinner's utter domination, I think, is the only fair way to put it on Ancient. I think that's pretty much the quickest map we've had all season, and we are going to need Vertigo to separate these two rosters.
Yeah, no, you might be right. I don't recall too many one-sided maps. It has just been that much of a competitive season, at least in all the games that we've got to catch. But Sinners made Big look like a noob team there in that one, I'm not going to lie. Understandably so. It's Ancient. It's a map that they clearly haven't really put a lot of time into. If they have, then I'm making them look bad. But or maybe they done that themselves. But either way, it's just one that they aren't too comfortable on, and that's not something that you can say now about Vertigo, which is coming up next. So I still think that we're going to have a banging third map, and as I had mentioned before, I think it's just about just brushing this away and pretending it never happened for Big.
Yeah, I think they've got to do that for a time, but it is going to have to be something they look at moving forwards, right? They need to be addressing some of these issues because, I mean, in all honesty, that performance on Ancient, it just wasn't acceptable for me. It became difficult to commentate at times. It was that hard to watch. Their CT side, they didn't really seem to have any proactivity in their counters, and their T side, well, as soon as the full rifles came out for Sinners, it was shut down at the door. It really was as simple as that. So either Big have got to start permabanning it and start taking the hit on some of their other maps, or they have got to go away and look at this VOD and learn how some of the best teams in the world are playing this map at the moment. But all negativity about Ancient aside, we do have a third map coming up. We do have Vertigo to decide who gets that spot in the upper bracket final, and it will be coming up after these ads.
Yes, nice shot, my friend.
Cheaters ruining your plays?
I have eyes on the enemy.
Bad servers stopping your shots? What you need is Esea. Advanced anti-cheat to stop cheaters. And the best servers around, all with 128 tick rate. Esea. The best way to play CSGO.
I just wish someone on my team would have told me. Apparently, I'm really not that good with this thing. Also, I die way too often in apartments. Seem to never have enough money on buy rounds. And flashed 4 teammates just yesterday. Wait, what? I didn't.
You did, Sean.
Oh. But I'm much better with the 5.7 than you are, Elias, and I got 34 entry kills last week, and I should actually be playing B-site. I'm much more useful over there.
What grade did you get this week?
I got C. That's not too bad, right?
Let's go.
Nope, gotta go. If you want to know what you're good at, and, well, also what you suck at, check out csgohub.com. Coming! Never fade out.
We're stuck in your car on a Friday night, and we laugh and we stuff we try not to talk about. Still your smile keep on heating up the climate, and all the blood to my cheeks are rushing out, yeah. And by accident, you're getting closer. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts, yeah. 'Cause I'm so sick of of this friend zone. Just feels so real. And your eyes keep on talking in the silence, and all the blood to my cheeks are rushing now, yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping you are getting closer. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Is it a wild shot of letting you know that you're the topic of all of my thoughts, yeah. And that I'm sick of this friend zone. Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? Well, can you tell me something, tell me something? 'Cause I'm so sick of this friend zone.
But can do it like Vinny, yeah, no permission. I got it.
it's gonna be okay, I think.
Feeling the high, chasing the night, chasing the night. You call my bluff for the last time. This ain't a song, it's a battle cry. No life, I see the clue between the strobe lights. I'm haunted, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, used to want it bad, but I can't taste it, I can't help you now, okay, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay. Got too much up on my plate, now I can't think. I said woke up to get X and now I'm feeling this is it. Want the money, want the rest. I do purse, not no cess. They say Darnish, why you sad? I said I just need the thing.
Map 3 will be required between these two rosters, and Map 3 is going to be Vertigo. An awkward affair, shall we say, for Big Clan on Ancient, as Sinners look to utterly dominate. And now, it's a map that both teams play a lot of. It's a common first pick for Big. It's a near enough certain first big pick for Sinners. And this one really feels like it could go either way.
Yeah, I do actually have the stats here somewhere about how many times they came out with the Vertigo pick. It was 5 out of 7 games that they played, they picked Vertigo in during the regular season. So, yeah, pretty safe to assume that it is a map that Sinners like to play. So, yeah, I'm excited. We know Big, as I mentioned, are on an 8-map win streak and not against shabby teams either. We said they've been a bit up and down throughout the season. Not really on Vertigo. They've been pretty consistent here. So I think this is definitely where they would like to try and end the series, but Sinners are going to give us a strong fight, and they'll look to try and carry on with that performance from Ancient, and that is a fantastic start. Finding both Keto and Sirison push down on B. Instant headshots found. Smokes and Molly's now going in. Hoping to try and lock those rotations off before they can even get into place. And they should be successful and at least given access to the bomb site. Oh, never mind.
Okay, Xantares swings wide and grabs himself a double. He's dinked up in the process, and that's going to be a problem, though. Oscar and Neofrag quick to the response. The fire's put out, and through the smoke, Oscar will finish the job. For a split second there, you wanted to believe. There was half a moment where you thought maybe through Xantares and a little bit of magic we would see Big getting into that CT pistol early, but instead it is Sinners. They get their first round on the board in slightly chaotic fashion, sure, and an opportunity now to build off the back of it. Of course, Force Spy coming in for the CT side. And pretty much as standard these days, 1 scout. Actually only 3 deagles. Tabson picks up a P250 to get a little extra utility, and interestingly, Sinners going to put some early pressure over towards B.
Yeah, looking to be the goal. Not going to find the aggression like they did in the previous round, so it won't be opened up quite as easy, but definitely looking to try and end it in the same place, although this time showing at least a little bit of presence around ramp. Just sending Neofrag up at that AK. Takes down Sirison. That seems to have kind of forced the second player to shy away a little bit, not wanting to completely lose the bomb site. And, well, we'll see how things go now as the actual commitment comes through on B. Smokes all over the place, and, well, you've seen the CTs trying to play around them. Bokito and Tizian trying to give it a go. Unfortunately, not working out for any kills. Just a small bit of damage done towards Oscar, and yeah, that's not really going to make it too worthwhile for either of these players to stick around. As you can see, both looking to save, and well, both being hunted already by Neofrag. A very, very shaky spray, though, on towards that final player. So we will be punished, but at least the weapon shouldn't be recovered. I don't think that's going to be an issue. There we go, the AK taken back by Shock. They don't give it away towards Tabson. They don't let him save the scout either. So I think they can be okay with the 1 casualty they took.
Yeah. Keeps a couple of Mac 10s on the table to farm up against the Eco as well, so not a bad look at all for Sinners. B-Stick and Zedco will get the SMGs. 3 AK-47s just to provide a little bit of a stabilizing force if things do start to go a little bit sideways. Couple of P250s brought up. HE in the hands of Tabson as well. Have to see if they can get anything with it. Zebco swinging into B early, gets a freebie. Keto out in no man's land on the stairwell and spotting out this mid stack early as well. It's good nade damage coming through, but this is where the AKs come to save the day. Tapping away, spraying them down as they look to swing the angle. It's a 3-for-1. The AK protected by that MAC-10 as well. B-Stick will grab it right before the death of things. So 2 MAC-10s becomes 1. 3 AKs are kept forward. It's a nice clean 3-0 start for Sinners. And for the first time, we're going to see if Big can offer any resistance. AWP in the hand of Sears and rifles for the remainder of them, and we'll see if they've managed to put Ancient out of the backs of their minds, as even Sinners are going to be upgrading, not bothering to keep that MAC-10. No bonus round here, aware of the pressure on them. They're going to go straight into the full buy. Nice little drop nade down, does good work onto Oscar. Doesn't allow him to peek into the initial angle either. And this time it's going to look for an early contest on the ramp through Xantares. Does take a lick of molly damage though as he falls back. That'll be a sound cue they can use on the Sinners side of things.
Ooh, this nade should do some pretty good damage. Not as much as I expected, but I mean, yeah, a little bit on towards Xantares. If you're going to take anyone low, he's definitely a good player to do so. Even if he had a really rough performance back on Ancient, definitely not hitting the level we expected of him. And I mean, not much damage being done at the moment, considering the little exchanges that were going on. But you can see that was just a fake around the ramp either way. So the one leg being spotted seems to have even pulled a player over towards this bomb site. And again, it's going to be the B hit coming through. Keo's got to go big. He will have assistance coming through from Tizian, but it's going to take a few seconds to get here, so he needed to hold off. And he is good for 2, but he tries to charge through the molly eventually, which does backfire. And suddenly Sinners have got themselves a 3-on-2 thanks to Oscar.
What is that? Just peeking freely into an AWP. 2 free picks for the AWPer. And now as the bomb goes down, Xantares and Searson to try and recover. Nice pop flash over the top. Low HP bars ahead of him. He spots out 2. The trade is there. He finds a second headshot, and it's the AWP against AWP. Searson trying to bait it out on the jump shot, but Oscar is having none of it. A quad kill in the round. The AWPer clutching up for Sinners. It's desperately expensive, but they get through the first of Big's rifle buys, and this is exactly what Sinners will want to do early. Keep their foot on the gas, don't allow Big to recover from any of that pressure they were under on Ancient, and just keep steamrolling as many rounds as you physically can before there's a response.
Yeah, this is literally starting off as well as it could right now. As you said, hoping to just pretend Ancient never ended. This is just another Ancient. It just looks a little bit different, bro. That's all it is. Neofrag actually going to catch the time in here on both of these players. Yeah, that doesn't look good. Tabson and Searson both going to be sprayed down. Xantares hoped to get a bit lucky with the spam himself coming through to try and help them out. Doesn't work though, and already you've got a very early 5-on-3, and I mean, you're already seeing that the individual prowess is certainly carried over from Ancient anyway. You've got Neofrag pressuring them heavily alone on ramp in a lot of these rounds as well, which is risky. Most of the time you'll see a team send at least a couple of players around here, but the fact that they can let Neofrag do this all alone, even if it's just against the weaker buys, is just a handy thing to have.
It's opening them up for the early B hits as well. By having Neofrag solo, they can 4-man B hit as soon as he gets a pick, right? As soon as he gets anything to draw rotations, it's not 3, it's 4, and they're just piling the pressure onto the B site early. I don't think they've even been to A yet. It's been 5 B hits or frags, and that's not something you normally see. Now Shock is going to go fast up the ramp. He's got Searson and Xantares to contend with. The flashes are good, however, and Xantares full blind needs protection. His teammate just about able to deliver it, but it's still going to work out in favor of Sinners. Neofrag there then to back his teammate up. Tabson wants to go in again. The flashbang will do perfectly. He gets the refrag to keep it level in the 3-on-3, but again, look at this immediately. Straight back over to that B site, and there is nobody home for the CT side. The utility will give the game away a little bit, and Keto will start to steal his rotation back in towards the generators. But with smokes already locking them out of some of these opening angles, Keto caught as he looks to drop off the plateau. Sinners, this B site clearly looking like a targeted portion of the map for them on their T side so far. Another 2-on-3 situation. Tizian looking to line up a nade onto Planter, get some good damage, but not expecting B-Stick up close. The molly gives away Tabson, and it's cleanly mopped up again. I'd like to see Big take a pause at this point, quite frankly, and I think that there you go, exactly as requested, because they need a mental reset. They're 6-0 down already. The rounds have been going, well, let's be perfectly honest, lightning fast pace. There's no player with a positive KD at the moment. The closest is Xantares. You've got Tizian still yet to frag. Like, if you're big, I'd take 2 pauses in a row. I would just completely mentally reset right here, because at the moment, if you keep going on this form, we're going to be done in half an hour, and Sinners will be going through to that upper bracket final.
Yeah, no, as you said, they need basically just a complete mental refresh right now. I wouldn't mind the double pause. Just cut all power off for a while, clear the CMOS, get fresh settings, and hope that it goes better for you. I mean, it's rough, though. The problem is, after that one pause, they can't even afford to come out onto the full buy, so maybe you pull another one out here before the actual gun round comes through. They've had a bit of a chat, they'll know what the plan is, but they've also, of course, discussed what they're going to try and do here to maybe come alive a little bit earlier. You're seeing Sirison obviously not spending as much, but he pulls out the Zeus, so that basically makes him have a better buy than everyone in his team. Argue it. There you do. One shot. Man, just can't beat it. Well, you can with a Deagle.
No comment.
More expensive, though.
Sinners happy to sit back, wait for the control to be given. Knowing full well the economic situation of Big, and that they will likely be on a few upgraded pistols here and there. All of the slowest round we've had so far, this one. Initial A ramp control taken, pot flash to try and get Keto into B, doesn't spot anything out, Zedko sees him on the re-peak. Sinners just look to slow things in group. This time it's going to be in towards that A site. Xantares playing the initial contact angle in towards the ramp, playing the jump peak, hoping that somebody swings into that shoulder. Tabson as well with a nade in towards mid, hoping to just get some damage. Does chip away nicely at Shock. He's there to try and cut rotations, to try and make life awkward. Tabson hoping to make his life a misery around the corner of this smoke. If he finds a clean headshot, it's a frag, and it is indeed. AK recoverable. They've got to speed things up now on this A hit, and Xantares looking to sow the seeds of chaos. Molly to at least force him back off the initial angle. The AK now rotating in, however. Xantares dealt with cleanly, and Zedko off the back of that should be able to get the bomb down. They're looking to boost the AK incredibly high up, but it's quickly dealt with. The spray through the wall, getting more damage onto Tizian as well. At this point, the CT side would do well. Yeah, Searson already looking to escape. AK-47 in hand. Save that over to the next round. Keto with a nice headshot onto another. Trying to at least make this expensive. Keto keeps going, and now Tizian's made this winnable. It's all Oscar. He's 3v1. He's being tagged down by the pistols. Finally finds his shot. Tizian taps the bomb. Looks to bait him out on the Deagle. Switches to the AK. They've got limited time, and that save was so damn far away. Now he's backing his man up, and Oscar on the headshot angle will have it ripped off. Big out of absolutely nothing. They were saving an AK-47. They were done with this round and checked out, and somehow they've got themselves around on the board.
What the hell, boys? I don't know how they managed to make that work. I mean, it props to Keto, hit some fantastic shots, had a bit of help as well on that bomb site as the Deeks just popped off, but yeah, that's not a round that Sinner should be losing. Then he even had a couple uncharacteristic misses then in the end from Oscar also, so it seems like he kind of felt the pressure of what the hell just happened. How did this round fall apart for us? Either way, though, it's not like it's going to instantly break Sinners. They have loads of money. They'll look to try and immediately bounce back and just hopefully forget that round happened. But obviously, as I had mentioned, Big, they were mostly focused on this one here, so to get themselves that slightly earlier start at least, to now get themselves back on track is a fantastic find, and, well, a great opening kill as well, going to come through from Tizian. Molly down to ensure he doesn't get hunted in return, and with that, they should be able to sit with a man advantage pretty securely.
That round looking to be the kick that Big Clan needed to get into gear here on Vertigo. Inventive play, playing the boosted angle. Catches a man off guard, able to fall back easily. Oscar tagged up in the exchange as well, but what is this rotation? Keto near enough abandoning B. Tabson looking to clear out the A ramp. That should give the information needed to make the rotation around. That molly has not worked according to plan. Keto does make his way back onto that B-bomb site. Starts to call for the rotator. Tizian, but he's had his head ripped off. Zedko behind the wood, unexpected. Tizian now with a lot to do. Flashed off his first angle of choice. Has to reset behind the generator, spraying away, trying to find Zedko. As Neofrag looks to transition that bomb as well. This nade will do a lot of work and may well deal with Zedko, but he manages to back off before it goes down and keep his team in a 4-on-4 at least for now. Good after plant positions and a mid flank coming in all the while. An interesting molly starts to force Big into this fight a little sooner than they'd like, but it's Tizian doubling up, triple on the spray down as he leaves Shock alone. The long flank through mid to try and come through, but he's got a 1v4. They're on the bomb already. He sprays down the first man, but that gives the game away. Big, clean as you like, into that B bomb site, and a little bit of magic from Tizian.
Yeah, to give them their second round, he kicked it off, and as you said, is the one to bring them through that round in general. And while it doesn't actually break Sinners, it does put them on the brink of destruction. They realize we lose this one, suddenly Big are back up on 4 rounds, and they have themselves a position where they can really get that CT side going and could not only recover it to a decent position, but could still potentially win out this half as well. So Sinners don't want to let anything go. Even if Big have struggled throughout Ancient and have struggled with a very slow start here on Vertigo, you've still got to remember what players you're up against. And I mean, yeah, just press tab for a second, Wolfie. We've got Tabson, we've got Sirison, Keto, Xantares, Tizian. They could just wake up out of nowhere, so I don't think Sinners will take any of this for granted with how important this matchup is.
Sure,
It's something we weren't really seeing during the regular season either. You wouldn't have a team up 6-2 calling a pause, would you?
Certainly not. I think the pressure of the situation, shall we say, is starting to become apparent. Win this and you are 1 best of 3, 1 best of 5 away from that spot. Pro League, an opportunity to show yourself against the best teams in the world. This time early ramp control, the nade combos are good though, and through the smoke, Tabson doubles the lead. Nice opening frags, Big really spurred on here. Tizian grabs a third, it's 3 isolated 1v1s, and all 3 of them ended disaster for Sinners. A very different tale to those opening 6, and now Neofrag and Oscar, well, left to try and scramble at the pieces. The nades continue to chip away at the A ramp progression. Neofrag down to 10. Oscar's managed to set himself at least in towards the catwalk, hoping that somebody swings in. There's the frag. Next man up, though, Xantares, and that molly slowly burning at the feet of Oscar. He's down to 14. Just about farming out these remaining kills. And Xantares through the smoke. I mean, that's just disgusting to clean things up. 4 players kept alive. Big have their third. And with a disjointed economy, Sinners may finally start to break.
You know, he'll get a few vax in the chat just because of how confidently he flicked to that man through the smoke. Xantares knows his angles. One of those players that puts a ridiculous amount of time into the game. Actually, while we're here, view profile. How many hours does he have last 2 weeks? If it's too low, I won't rat him out. Oh, I can't see it. That's actually smart, Xantares. That is smart.
Industry secrets.
Yeah, they've got enough to work with here. To be fair, that is something you could look at to determine games and stuff, so they should all just hide their hours. So it's not something that people will go off of, like, oh, this team played like 40 more hours overall. We're not expecting a lot in this round. A couple of kills, I think, could be the goal for Sinners as well. They've already got 1. Not a bad start there coming in towards B from B-Stick. Won't be able to get any assistance, unfortunately, because of the molly that went down, so he does end up just falling then with no trades really available, and obviously that's allowed plenty of time for Big to bolster up their B defense. I like this boost from Oscar, though.
Not going to check anyone over Platt, but he's quickly dealt with. Searson swinging, looking to get some confidence into that AWP. Missed shot from Zedco. They're playing with fire here, and they are starting to get mopped up. Tizian with the final kill to confirm it. Just the 1 off that AWP as well. Not quite as much damage as they would have hoped for. Gap narrows to 2. The confidence starting to build for Big. 5 will still come through, of course, for Sinners. AWP in the hands of Oscar. 4 AK-47s, and Oscar's got the opening pick as well. Tizian proactive down that B ramp, punished for it. Perfect start for a T side that's been struggling recently to gain the momentum. An early pick to work off of. Utility will keep them locked out of the A ramp control, at least for now. They are lurking around to see if anybody gets a little too keen. With that opening man advantage aware, they don't really have to push the issue just yet. Tabson will be the next target, in towards mid. Oscar swinging with the jump peek across, neither really connecting too much of anything. Nade goes in, but it's only a couple of points of health or damage onto Shock. Sinners look to reset. They've still got a good amount of utility to plan this execute, and it looks like they want to take it over towards A.
Yeah, looking to be the goal. Problem is, Sirison is going to be the first line of defense, and he's got a good position to just snatch up 1 kill, equalize the numbers, and then fall back towards this bomb site to just play with his teammates. And that's exactly what you see happening. B-Stick dropped early on, and while there is still some time here for Sinners with 50 seconds, they could, in theory, still consider going back towards B, but it doesn't look to be the case, and well, I think Big have already realized that this isn't going to happen as they pushed Keto down through B to get that early control, and, well, is still hanging on to it at the moment. So they should be able to bring all 3 to A. As you will see, of course, Tabson eventually joining them. They're not really being too quiet about this either. Lots of noise being made, jumping around by Sinners. Xantares decides to go forward. They were sick of waiting on the bomb site, so a flash goes in. Xantares is good for the frag again, falls back with no chance for a trade to come true for Sinners, and these numbers just continue to diminish with no fight being put up.
Finally, Neofrag gets one, does well to even double it, but Xantares again is there to trade things down, and this is more like it from Big. That CT side we expected from them. Control being fought for on that A ramp, the picks being traded back and forth, but at this point consistently in favour of that CT side, and still sticking with the trusted single AWP setup. We'll see Sinners dropping down onto a half buy of their own, Tech-9s and Deagles. Looking to maybe up the pace a little bit and just see if anything's given to them for free. Nice nades into mid early, and Searson starts to pick off the numbers. Couple of frags, and it's just duck shooting at this point. 3 in quick succession. Tabson there to back up his right-hand side. And within all of 15 seconds, it's Shock left to try and find some kind of damage.
Nice little headshot from Keto then to end it as well. Nice round from Searson though, finding 3. Definitely a man you want to be finding some form, rather, especially with how Oscar has been playing so far throughout this series. You need someone to challenge him on that op, especially on a map here like Vertigo. But we're tied at 6-6, considering the start that Sinners had into this game. This is not where they wanted to be. I had said Big still, in theory, had a chance to win at the half, and it's definitely in play. They could still come through with a 9-6, but again, Oscar is going to find that early B pick. We've seen it from them before, and they weren't actually able to turn it into the round win, so we'll see whether they capitalize this time or not. And again, it has been traded back on towards A ramp.
Feels like they need to learn from their opening rounds. B was consistently the targeted site, consistently where they found success, and seems like they need to work that out and continue trying to find that trend. Oscar holding for the ramp aggression, has Xantares for company on the jump peak and gets the shot as well. Reaction times lightning. Keto spotted out by the headshot boost once more. Fan advantage back again for Sinners. Can they make something of this round? Shock out in no man's land in mid, caught by Tabson. And Sinners feeling very disjointed at the moment. Back into the 3-on-3 we go. Oscar bailing off the A-ramp control to get his hands on the bomb and look to join the team. It will be the B site hit again. But with Tabson proactive in towards mid, all Keto needs to do is hold on. All he needs to do is pick them off as they come, stay alive and buy a little bit of time. I say that's all he needs to do. He's going to be up against the full execute and full firepower of these 3 remaining Sinners players. So he drops his smoke, resets in towards the generators, boosted up. They're trying to get a player into wood early. They did manage to punish Keto from that before, but this time a much more passive play, and he gets a freebie, a quick flick to take out B-Stick on the cross. There isn't the smoke down, but instead the crosshair lands, and Zedko manages to double up on the spray down. Tizian left with a clutch to contend with. Zedko seems aware there may well be a flank, but he's looked away at the worst possible moment, and there's the first. Oscar spotted out, a Molotov and a nade to try and clear him out some of these angles, a flashbang as well to make his life as difficult as possible. He drops down behind the box, looking to play the time, swings wide to the right and connects his shot. Sinners finally have a response. From 6-0 to 6-6, they finally get a T-sided round. It's not easy and it's not cheap either. Their next buy isn't going to be good, but they're starting to find something once more on Vertigo.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as you can get like 8 rounds at least on the T side, then you should be sitting happy enough. But it's just if you have a 6-0 start, you're expecting a lot more from the half, and well, it's eluded them so far. As you said, finally coming back in with 1. Can they convert that potentially even into another 1 or 2 is the question. A couple of weaker weapons being put into play, unfortunately, with those Galils, and well, the nades also could be better. On the other hand, Big, they're not lacking at all. They've got everything they could require, and well, a nice flash over for Keto. Pops up, Zedko not quite ready for a man already up close. And again, the early frag that goes the way of Big is uncontested. Normally, you'd actually see Sinners getting 1, then Big pull it back uncontested, but this time, able to actually find the first blood for themselves.
Russian as well from Tabson. Nice pop flashes in, and they're demolishing this Big. It's 1 frag for Neofrag, but nothing more than that. Shock left to contend with the 1v4. Does well to tap away at the first, but quickly traded down, of course. Big continue to level things out. Their CT side continues to impress after, again, an awkward start. They do feel like they start slow into these maps, but if you give them a little bit of room, they do kick into gear very quickly. An opportunity for them to at least secure the lead at the half here. Sinners, of course, will be desperate for it, whoever gets it. A little bit of a psychological advantage heading into the halftime, but the buy for Sinners is going to be very awkward. 3 Deegs. Yeah, on the Galil. Oscar at least able to get his hands on the big green, but he'll be expected to have a lot of the impact into this round, and he's not been given that early B pick this time.
Nade. Oh my god, so much damage. I mean, it's overall, I mean, not the worst when you look at the individuals, but just the amount of damage that has been done. This is going to make it such an easier hold for Keto. Sprays down 3. Again with the perfect flash coming in from Dizzian. He's known for his support, and that's exactly what he gives. Shock at least good for 1 on the Deagle on mid, but damage just doesn't matter. It's the final round of the half. This was a must-win really for Sinners to try and salvage together something and at least get a win at the half-time. Instead, now Oscar caught in between a rock and a hard place with Tabson from behind, and with Tizian, well, getting ready to peek forward and likely to catch him off guard there. So A7 at the half-time. Again, considering Sinners had a 6-0 start, that is kind of a dreadful position now to be in.
Definitely felt like they lost the momentum. And I think that's going to be the real problem now, heading into the CT side of Vertigo. It is a side they take a lot of confidence in. They do look a very well-oiled machine on the CT side of Vertigo, but up against a team of the caliber of Big, you would have been hoping they get a few more rounds from that first half, right? As you said, such a dominant start, and just allowing Big to feel their way back into this game. I think they would have wanted that momentum from Ancient to last a little bit longer. Instead, they find themselves a round down at the halftime. Of course, there is still the lower bracket for whichever team fails to make it a reality this time through, but at that point, one mistake and you're gone. And for Sinners, they'll want this miracle run to continue just a little bit longer. I mean, this feels like a Leicester City Premier League run to me. You know, they came out of Advanced, they're here in Premier now, and somehow they find themselves in the upper bracket semi-final of playoffs. An 8-7 half against Big Clan here, and an opportunity, if that CT side gets off to a flying start, to potentially book their spot in the upper finals.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do need to know here is that looking at Sinner's stats, they actually only win 44% of their rounds on the CT side, which is, I mean, it is a bit of a T-sided map, but still not amazing. So the fact that they had let the momentum slip now, it's going to be hard to try and get it back in their favor, but that's a good start. Oscar charges in. Most of the players, though, have attempted to bypass the ramp and just move around through the side alley, but that doesn't work any better for them. Oscar moves back in alongside Shock. The crossfire tears them apart, and suddenly Sirison left in a 1-on-4. He is going to be able to creep successfully, I'd imagine, in towards the spawn, but he's not even got Kevlar to work with.
Element of surprise is pretty much all he's got to work with, and now that's gone as well. Down to 40 HP on the initial spam through. Just hoping that somebody gives him a fair fight, a fair 1v1. Instead, Sinners back off, look to group, multiple crosshairs on the same angles. Oscar gets the kill, a team effort, but a quad from him. And they do get that early CT pistol. The idea looked solid from Big, but without having anyone taking that ramp control, the catwalk just gets pincered. You've got players in elevator, you can have players in heaven or hell, and you've got the ramp control for the CT side. So you're just walking into a shooting gallery, and off the back of it, without the bomb plant down, it will be the force for Big, but just the Deagles. Tamsin again drops to the P250 to get a little more utility. Searson finds himself on a glass cannon scout, looking to hold on to that A ramp as Sinners already very proactive in the opening control. Mollies and smokes go in, just completely locking Big out of this A ramp control early on. Good damage through the smoke as well, as they really look to press the issue early on A.
It looked like that was going to be the hope, but now they're actually just moving back over towards B. Zedko playing fairly aggressive actually at the moment, so we'll see what he can get done from here. His closest distance is going to be Shock back on the rafters, so he should be called in pretty quickly. And well, Zedko gets nothing. Goes down straight away to the Deagle of Keto. His teammates now are going to need to step up big time to ensure that they don't lose out against this Force Spy. At least for now, keeping the numbers equal, but it's still getting incredibly risky. And well, Fire even returned through the smoke on towards Shock. They don't even manage to get away with that damage unscathed. The only problem now is for Big that they were not expecting such a fast flank to be coming through. And well, with the MP9, it looks like it should be cleaned up pretty easily. Thompson already tagged up heavily there when he was trying to actually get the bomb down initially, so he's going to have a tough time getting anything done. Although for now, in theory, he could isolate this one fight against Oscar.
Theory and reality, two very different things. However, the M4A1S against an unarmored P250, and they do get that round over the line. It's expensive, but up against Force Spies, you can forgive some casualties here and there. Definitely some sloppiness over on the B-bomb site. Maybe Zedko could have done with falling back to the relative safety of a headshot angle a little bit sooner, but they get it over the line regardless. A couple of MP9s, MP5 to try and farm some cash into this one. Take out some of those unarmored Glocks. They have a little bit of utility on Big just to try and set themselves up for a little bit of A-site. see if maybe they can take the fights even just against the M4s at range, right? Don't let the MP9s farm you up. Ideal scenario, maybe get one of those M4s down, get yourselves a bomb plant, but can't imagine that's going to be allowed. Neofrag does get taken down low early, and Xantares will convert on that damage, so that's an MP5 to be recovered, and Sinners again, they've got to be a little bit careful here. This is only a half buy from the T side. They can't afford to be losing too many players to this, otherwise their economy will be in a very awkward spot. And that Deagle is looking to do a little bit more work now. Keto swings out wide. Oscar and B-Stick looking to stabilize, however, as the IGL starts to mop up the remaining kills, and they will get away with it. Not too many frags found by those SMGs, however.
No, and it was just overall very aggressive from them. Zedko's having a really tough game. I did not realize he was sitting on 4 and 12, and when you compare that to Oscar's 22 and 8, it does look a bit ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it's 10-8, not a bad position for Sinners to be in right now. Obviously taking some good control here early on in the half, but the question is this something that they can hang on to now that the guns are actually coming out for big? It got a little bit difficult at that stage, rather back on the previous half. Again, though, Neofrag loving this ramp aggression, this time with the smoke in play, though. I wonder if maybe they just missed the smoke in that previous round, because he was in a very open position that I didn't expect from him.
You know he plays it now as well, so Utility comes in to try and flush him out. He has to back off towards the catwalk. Nice one-way smoke, but it's a known one. He'll know there's a corner in that. Searson starts to free-fire the corner and gets a freebie as B-Stick swings. Neofrag does very well to trade, but he's got to be alive to the threat now. Searson scoped in. You can see he's aware of that one-way, and through the scaffolding he'll find it. Neofrag wallbang down. Oscar now under pressure as well to find the first. Needs a lot more than that, and they keep peeking him one by one. Tabson the next to fall. It's 2 MP9s in an AWP against an AK in an AWP. There's a lot of damage onto all of these players now. Zedko, the only one with a full bill of health. Bomb looks to go down, and this flank from Shock is everything. A low HP AK-47 quickly taken out of the fight, and Searson, has he got the miracle play in him? No scope, quick flick to the AWPer of Oscar. And now up against these 2 MP9s, he's got them split. He's looking to isolate, quick scope for the second, and Zedko the next, but he can't quite land it. The headshot from the MP9 will save the day. The CT side will continue to build. It goes down to the last man, but Sinners have 11.
Damn, Oscar's really giving it his all right now. It looked like things were going to go south after that shot from Searson onto the... I forget who exactly it was playing the one-way smoke. But either way, it looked like, okay, well, that's probably it done and dusted. But no, Oscar manages to hold off the 2, stay alive, waste a bit of time, and eventually Zedko cleans it up. Winning out the clutch, getting those kills when they're needed, even if he has been having an overall pretty tough performance, we've got to say. Normally a man that we can expect to frag pretty well. I think during the regular season we're calling him basically the backbone, how consistently he was on the middle of the scoreboard, rather, how consistently you could just kind of depend on him to get his job done. Again, Neofrag loves his aggression. We'll actually decide to go a bit more aggressive with it this time, directly up against the smoke. Might even be flashed in, which is going to be incredibly risky with 3 players holding. We'll be able to blind them all up, thankfully, and he just mows them down then. The 4th man not allowed to try and hunt them, and he actually wants to go back in, looking for potentially the ace for himself, and Tizian might just bring it his way.
No HP. I think I'd rather he backs off, and yeah, Oscar.
Screw that, get the ace, bro. It is a very crucial game, you're right. This could still fall apart if they were to get their economy broken with how close the score is.
Exactly. Ego fragging versus economy fragging. And Oscar, well, override is hit, ace is denied. Neofrag still a pivotal contribution to the round, but able to keep all 5 rifles. And that's the big difference maker. I mean, you can see it in the red numbers, right? 900, 300. They're spending near $1,000 on the CT side. It's 5, 6K for big to reinvest into those rifles. And it means that if these rounds continue to go wrong, they are running out of opportunities. Searson will post himself on the ramp, this time up against an M4, and Neofrag, what is that? Through the smoke, through the box. Just destroys Searson, no impact allowed in this round, and almost immediately you can see rotations being played. The aggression this time perhaps a little bit too much, and Tizian actually takes full advantage to double up. Mid-control taken away from Shock, and somehow out of pretty much nowhere, Big find themselves with the man advantage. Bomb hightailing it over to B. Zedko. He's had a rough half, as you said, needs a big impact now, and it's only the first. Quickly traded away once again. B-Stick is in position to do some damage. He's going to bounce a molly onto Planter as well. Keto will be caught in no man's land, so he keeps it competitive. 2-on-2, they're looking to join together. The smoke will go in to try and lock them out of this peak entirely. That's going to make life very awkward for the T side now. You can see Tizian with Zantares on the left, but it's a quick spray down to leave him on his own, and the edge of the smoke is perfect. B-Stick, what a series he has had so far. His stats have been through the roof, and this round is going to put it a little bit higher. 13 on the board for Sinners. And again, this feels like Ancient to me. These few rounds, nothing is going wrong. Everything they do works out. And somehow they keep dragging themselves back into these fights.
Yeah, I'm having a look, and even though B-Stick, I mean, he's 15 and 11 here, he wasn't the top of the scoreboard or anything. He was more around the middle on the previous maps as well, but he's just had some insane impact. I can remember multiple rounds of him basically single-handedly winning it for them, so he has been fantastic. And again, considering he's the in-game leader and he's got a lot more to worry about, the fact that he can give us those frags is fantastic to see, and he's not going to slow down. If they win this round, they've ruined big. They'll have no money to try and fight for the overtime even. So this is looking bad right now for Big, as the trades do at least finally come back a small bit, giving some hope perhaps that Big can recover the round, but it's very quickly taken away as Csgo finds himself an unaware Zantares. The bomb is stolen, Sirisen's left on 3 health, and he's got the same number of players to try and overcome.
There's an interesting idea. I'll give them that. Fast out mid, but the AWP's just all too ready. Nice clean headshot from Searson for the first. He needs a lot more where that came from. And oh no, Csgo, don't do it to him. Nade over the top, that'll finish the job. Sinners mop up 14, and again, as you said, economy, half buying maybe for Big, then look to play for the overtime, or do you force it? Do you risk it all with a 3,400 loss bonus to try and keep the hopes of taking this cleanly in regulation alive?
This is not where Big were expecting to be, I wouldn't imagine. 6 rounds in between them. They need to be just flawless now on this T side if they want to make the comeback happen. And I did say that it's normally the CT side where Sinners struggle a little bit more on Virgo. I wouldn't say necessarily struggle, because it is a slightly T-sided map, so I'd say the 44% rounds that they get is maybe a little bit low, but not by miles. But either way, as you had said, it just seems like we're getting the complete shutdown like we got back on Ancient, and kind of like what the initial 6 rounds even of this map looked like. Sinners then went missing for ages, but I think they were just saving it all for the kind of like the final moments. It's like a marathon. You don't want to sprint constantly, you know?
I mean, if you sprint and get it done early, then that's always a bonus, but...
That's true. You might burn yourself out. You never know. No, I was using stupid analogies now. We're on the well, half fight. They actually have a ton of nades. Will they get a chance to use them with how much damage is already being done is the question. And yeah, no, not really. Keto all alone. He's got 2, but he needs an ace clutch. We've already seen 1 from him.
That's the rifle as well. It's not done just yet. He's got armor and a full bank of utility. Certainly a player who is capable of pulling these star moments out. Has time on his side, 1 minute and 10. The problem is, as always on Vertigo, he's pretty limited in his options, being locked out of a lot of the angles by aggression from B-Stick. Has to go into the A site, so Csgo and Shot can just hold their crossfire. No need to overpeak, no need to give him anything. As that clock starts to tick down, Keto will be forced to take some increasingly risky peeks to try and get himself into this round. Starting to creep his way up onto the A site now. 40 seconds left, does have utility. Smoke, Molly, HE to try and lock some of these angles out. Smoke goes close, Molly into the elevators. Now that bomb will look to go down. Shock though over the top, the Molly to do the damage, the USP to convert, and Sinners have 15. The half buy, yes, it gets some damage, but again, there's a 7-round buffer. Damage is nigh on irrelevant. Big need rounds on the board, and they're going to have to find 7 of them on the trot if they want to force overtime on Vertigo here, if they want to stop Sinners from booking that spot in the upper bracket final.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen crazier comebacks happen, but just not very often, and not how shaky Big have been looking so far. I mean, it's just so surprising, because obviously 6-0 initially for Sinners, then Big just started looking insane throughout that first half, brought it back to a strong position, and then just went missing. I don't know what has happened on their T side, but they have indeed just gone completely missing. I don't know, they're like on milk cartons and stuff. Either way though, this is a decent buy from Big. That is one positive. There's nothing really lacking. They've got everything they could ask for, other than round wins, really. So let's see if that can come their way now. Oh, and yeah, they actually find Zedko's aggression. I think they're aware that Oscar's also pushed through, and, well, apparently Xantar's indeed is. Spams through, here's the damage that it connected, finishes it off, and, well, eventually one pulled back by Shock as Keto gets blinded in the open. But they've got loads of time, and they've still got an advantage, so I was going to say they could slow it down if they wanted, considering they don't have all of the players ready for this push quite yet. This could be a bit risky.
Plenty of presence here for the CT side as well, but over the top of the smoke, Tabson continues to do work. Beastick gets one, but he's losing teammates all around him. Left in the 1v3 behind these generators. Peeking over the top. Nice clean headshot onto Xantares. Takes half his health in damage though, and with 2 angles to hold, he can't quite find it. Big start as they mean to go on. Now the gap starts to narrow. 6 more rounds required, taking it every round at a time. And, well, as you look over at this buy from Sinners, they will be able to buy into this one. Depending on what they opt for, the next one might be a little bit of an issue, however. They've got one AWP out already. Zedko and Shock both with the finances to pull out a secondary. I have to imagine this is them taking the pause to work out exactly what is the killer formula to put the final nail in the coffin and take the victory. Some big decisions to be made here for Sinners.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything pretty much going into this round. So lose this 11 probably for big, then you've only got maybe 2 more gun rounds, potentially 3, depending on how things go down. So, I mean, you can very clearly see the path back into this for big. It is certainly doable. Just no room for errors at all to be made, and, well, there's been plenty of mistakes throughout this entire map so far from what we've seen, so they need to be very quickly taken care of. And, well, it is the double up setup as well that Sinners are going to come right back onto between Zedko and Oscar, and again, we just know how effective this can be for them.
Is Zedko going to expect the headshot boost, though he isn't, and that's the B-bomb site wide open. Sinners with a decision to make. They're going to rotate an M4 in, see if they get anything off him, but he's missing his shots, and Shock is punished. Antares with the clean headshot. At this point, already save called. Gap narrows once more. It will be around for big, and they're going to start trying to farm as well. Uncharacteristic miss from Searson, but quickly corrected. Oscar and B-Stick here. I mean, he's got to be a little bit conscious of the fact that, you know, if he loses that AWP, it's a heavy reinvestment to get his hands on it again, but weighing that up against the possibility of taking away one, maybe all of the remaining rifles is the real question. Oscar, 28 kills to his name, looking to potentially drop that 30 bomb here on Vertigo as the bomb does continue to tick down, and Big will secure their double digits again, though. Oscar continuing to just sow the seeds of havoc on that AWP, picking off a couple of the frag hunters and the lurkers as they look to try and take these remaining rifles away. So the AWP and the M4 will have to be left on the server. And interestingly, off the back of those saves, they could argue for the buy here on Sinners. Oscar drops 1. The only player who would really be struggling is Zedko, but do they want to make that risk? Doesn't look like it. It's going to be largely pistols.
Oh, okay. Kind of surprisingly so. Beastick has got himself a little bit there. No pistol, though. I mean, it would have been, maybe even a P250 from Oscar would have been nice there, just so he had a weapon to actually utilize that Kevlar. Okay! Neofrag's already got himself 2 kills. I actually didn't manage to catch that. Oh, Director not being nice to me. He goes back in with the USP of all weapons. And that won't work out too well for him, as we'd presume. And, well, that's when it could become a bit of an issue, because that's one of the few rifles that they have in play. So even with this man advantage, you do still see Zedko and Shock lacking. We'll see whether Beastie can get the job done, though, from the sandbag. Swings out just as the molly comes through and isn't quite able to get the finish. But they've done some pretty good damage, so the deagles do become more effective.
Up close and personal, clean shot from Shock, and now with an AK in his hands as well. The nade will come through, doesn't quite finish off the AWP. Deagle spotted in transition, though. Zedko will be taken out. Shock really the man to do it all here, and he's stuck in towards that catwalk, been spotted out by the AWP. He swings wide into Tizian, who does mop up the remaining kills. He gets a little bit hairy towards the death of things. They get it over the line. The gap gets a little bit narrower still. Of course, this will be the buy for Sinners. Got 1, maybe 2 more in the bag to try and get this over the line. They will not want this to go to overtime. We've seen what Big can do with late resurgences on maps. They want to put this to bed now. They will have their opportunity to do so. Oscar, the only player able to bring the big green out into this round, limits his utility to do so. No more double AWP setup, and Big with very heavy presence over towards that B site early.
Yeah, Sinner's not too shabby on their own presence, though. They have 2 players straight up to defend. Make that now 1 because Shock has peeked in and gone down. So Czgo left alone on the bomb site. A little bit of a one-way to be used over that smoke and actually does get the kill on Sirison. Also given some time to back off towards the generator so that he can play from a position where he can hopefully at least stay alive for a while. We're seeing this be much more effective in at least keeping the 4-on-4. Unfortunately, though, eventually take it out. Smoke's behind them, didn't have any help from his teammates, but you've still got a 3-on-3. You've got good damage on Tabsky, and you've got the nade that has now finished him off as the numbers go in favor of Sinners once again. Big gonna have to fight in off of the back foot as we seen in that previous round. Able to recover to 3-on-5. This time a 2-on-3 is needed. And well, no kit in play from Sinners, so if they don't get moving quickly, then they are going to have trouble to even get that bomb defused.
That's going to be the problem now. They're playing with a lack of time, and the turn from Tizian is perfect. Nothing more Oscar can do in this round. He does manage to find 1 at the very least, but without a kit, he can't even contest. The AWP will retreat. Tizian will secure 12. Close but no cigar, Sinners. Couldn't quite afford the defuse kit. If they had, that round could well have been theirs. They needed that flank in just a little sooner than they got it. This one won't be a buy. Maybe some pistols around Oscar to see if they can pull off another miracle, but there will be, again, 1, maybe 2 more. That ult from Oscar going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting if Sinners want to keep this competitive in round number 28. Full firepower, of course, available for Big, full utility, full everything. They are going to throw the kitchen sink at absolutely every round they have. 3 Ds, a CZ, and a saved AWP, all that Sinners can muster on the defense this time around. Frag looks to get aggressive up the catwalk, wall bang down early. There's a couple of players to his left to support, but they've had to back out as well. The utility ensuring that they don't get any of the opening peaks thereafter, and Tamsin just swinging in, catching the boosting players, 3 in quick succession. This round surely done. Oscar does well to even get 1 from Heaven, but with Tamsin already pushed proactively forwards, they can spot out the AWP. He looks to swing, doesn't hit his shot onto the planter. And at this point, the round is all but done. Czgo maybe hangs around, sees if he can get some picks. Oscar would do well to hold on to that AWP again.
Uh-oh. It's starting to fall apart a little bit, isn't it, Wolfie?
Just a little.
It makes me think back to that round where Neofrag got the 2 opening kills and decided to stick around and fight on the USP after initially running around sandbags and I think running back into the fight with the USP for some reason instead of just reloading. So yeah, I feel like maybe they could have closed this before, but they'll get another gun round here in the following and, well, they'll look to put an end to it. Otherwise, the next one they'll get will probably be when it's basically tied up already. Going into that overtime.
They're getting to that point, aren't they? Those last couple rolls of the dice. This is it. This is the last everything buy.
Yeah, they'll have kits and everything at least behind this investment, I'd imagine. Please. Come on, you can get at least 2. Get 2. There's 1. Oscar? Does he never buy a kit? He just doesn't buy kits. I don't know.
Oh, if he doesn't defuse in time because he hasn't got a kit, that is going to be absolutely tragic.
I've looked at him multiple times and he's had like 4,000 or 5,000 and hasn't bought one.
He's taking early damage from the mid-aggression. Not quite the kill they were after, those Sinners. It feels to me like they're probing for an early man advantage, knowing that they need something going their way. Nade stack counters onto Oscar. Good damage found early on by both sides. Games always get cagey as they get towards the death, and this one, no exception. Nobody wanting to be the player to step out of line to make the mistake that causes it all to go so desperately wrong. Utility out into mid. Couple of players queuing up towards that stairwell on B. Rotations being called now by the CT side. They don't want to be caught empty-handed. Once again, over on that B bomb site. Already 2 players here. Czgo and Shock well positioned. The bomb yet to commit though, sis. And still, they're looking to fake this and relocate up onto that A site. Neofrag playing the one-way smoke. Good nade damage about to come through as it chips away at Keto significantly. But it is only 2 players over on this A site. It is only Oscar and Neofrag. Nobody even close on the rotate. It's going to be down to them and them alone to get this round done. All 5 players from Big about to head into their crosshairs. Oscar dumps what utility he can just to buy a little bit of breathing room for his teammate. B-Stick has made the rotation. Dinks through the smoke onto Xantares, but he goes straight through it with Keto. The double spray down is good. He looks for more. B-Stick caught on the headshot box. There's the free conversion, and Big are not going to let this go quietly. Zedko and Shock with a decision to make, and there is no two ways about it. It is a save immediately. Again, Sinners close but no cigar. Tizian on 8 HP. Xantares on 13. Keto on 46. If those frags come through, this is a competable round. Instead, all 5 alive for Big. Zedko and Shock looking to save 2 M4s to try and give themselves a little bit of something to work with for the last round of regulation.
It's going to be a tilter when they realize how much damage they've done in this round as well. I mean, you had Tizzy and Keto and Xantares all on the health they're on right now before a kill had even come true, but Keto just pops off and honestly was so close to getting the spam on that third player. He deserved it at that point. Oscar is 32 and 13 with 9 assists. He not only has the most kills, but the most assists, and he's often. So that means probably just a couple of leg shots. He could be up near 40 right now if he aimed a little bit higher a few times. But it's still not enough for them to get the finish. That is just ridiculous. Please help Oscar. In theory, I think if you look at this lineup, if you're thinking back a few years, you're going to be like, yeah, Oscar probably carries these guys. But that's just never the case. It's not. You don't normally see him this far ahead on the scoreboard. Normally, he has Neofrag, Zedko, Shock, and even Beastick helping him out to a great degree. And while we are seeing a bit from Neofrag, he's had some great rounds. I feel like Shock underperforming a little bit. I think Beastick has been pretty solid in terms of the impact he's had, but obviously the main man who's really been kind of just missing throughout this map is Zedko.
One last roll of the dice for Sinners in regulation at least to try and convert on that series point before we will need overtime to separate these two rosters. Fast control going to be taken again over towards the B site. 2 players straight into the stairwell, piling the pressure onto a Zedko who has had his difficulties. Struggle to find consistent frags, and they're going to try and punish him again. 3 players making their way up the stairwell early. Beastick over on A taking damage, but Shock's doubled up on the ramp. The perfect spray down to support his teammate who's been lacking off just a little bit. Rotation's starting to come through. They need to hold on for a little bit longer here. Shock and Zedko with the crossfire. The flashbang is good. Zedko swings. Good damage found, but Tabson still getting frags. Tizian keeps it competitive. 2 on 3. It's 1 on 3. It is all on Sears, and the AWPer left in the impossible situation. A 1v3 to contend with. He has at the very least the B sight, but he peeks just a little bit too wide. It will be Sinners. They take their time. They use all of their opportunities, but at 16-14, they take their vertigo. They take the victory. They take their upper bracket final. And Big, well, they get knocked down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, and what was a pretty rough game. That Ancient game especially was just, yeah, I don't know if they want to be playing more Ancient in these playoffs until they can get more time, basically, on it. But overall, we've got to say, great showing from Sinners. They knew what they were doing, picking Ancient. They knew that they were going to find probably a Big who haven't had as much practice on it, considering it seems like Sinners have put a lot of work into it. They lost their own initial game, then took a bit of a break from it, played Blink on it, and were just a brand new team, basically, in the level of performance. And it looks like they may have even stepped